Well, I was scrolling through Google, right? I always go through Google. I'm a very intelligent man and I read a lot of articles. Totally joking, that's not the case at all. But I saw this article, I think it was on Reddit, and it's from Business Insider. And I don't even read that much from Business Insider, to be honest. But this article was written, and the way it is, it's pretty much how I make some of my videos. It's just a pessimistic viewpoint of why you should or shouldn't buy a certain thing with very strong ideals that can be easily be, counter-argued. And this specific article said there is no reason to buy next-gen PlayStation and Xbox consoles this holiday. Now, I looked at that, right? And I was like, all right, like, obviously it's like totally subjective, like you should probably buy one if you want to, but they actually made some really good points, and I kind of want to reiterate some of those points. I'll link this article in the description below so you can go and check it out. Their very first point, though, was actually a very good point, is that as of right now, there are next to no games that can be played only on this specific console. And they made some points like, okay, there's a couple of them, but as a whole, most games that are still coming out are going to be multi-platform. So you can not only play them on a PlayStation 4, you can play them on an Xbox One or One S or One X, and you can also play them on the PS5 and Xbox Series X whenever those comes out. And I totally agree with that. Like, as of this point, like it's going to take a bit of time for, the market to kind of go and, get into that direction of pushing out a bunch of games for these specific platforms. And we've seen it time and time again, even when the PS3s came out, the PS4s, the first year or so, it takes a while for everyone to move over to that console. On day one, there's going to be still more people who've owned the PS4 or Xbox One series than the actual Series X or the newer PlayStation 5. So as of right now, these game makers aren't stupid. They're not going to make a game that nobody's going to buy or only few people will actually be able to play it. So they're purposely going to keep pushing out these games for both consoles. There are some exceptions, like they mentioned the new remake of Demon's Souls that came out for PlayStation 3 for the PlayStation 5. That's an exclusive release. Also, the new Halo that's coming out that's delayed. I think that's only for the Xbox Series X. It could be for the One, I don't know, but those are some examples to get people hyped up for those games. Other than that, for the next couple of months, I would say even up to a year, most games are going to be multi-platform for both consoles for sure. Now, their second point was kind of dumb. At $500, both of the flagship next-gen consoles are very expensive. Okay, that's like whatever. Like, of course they're going to be expensive. You can always get the Xbox Series S, that is $300, or the digital version, that's $400. So yeah, at $500 for the top tier, yeah, it's kind of pushing it, but you can also get the bottom tier models of both. Their second one, which is something that I actually mentioned, I think, on my early videos that I made on the PS5 and Xbox series, was that their new 120Hz refresh rate on that 4K, it has the capability of doing that. I think on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, the bottom tier models I don't think support it for the Xbox Series S, but I think the PS5, both versions support it. And I think, that's a really awesome feature, and that's pushing that awesome thing on all consoles, and hopefully in the future we'll have even more than that, but that's really cool. And I think, for the time being, that's awesome, but you need certain TVs in order to have those features. And I think, like I said before, it's okay, that's totally fine, but that also is, I think, a really good point, because if people are buying it specifically for that, not only will you have to buy a $300, $400, or $500 console, but you'll also have to go buy a brand new TV that supports that. It's not like you can buy any 4K TV and have that 120Hz refresh rate. You have to have certain TVs to do that. So I think that's more of a reminder, or for me to notify you, or for them to notify us and kind of remind us about it, than actually, keeping that in the back of our head, because still, even 4K at that standard rate is still going to be really good for a lot of people. And the last thing they mentioned, or one of the last things they mentioned, was the games available at launch of any console generations are usually rough, and there's no reason to believe this generation is any different. Now, that, okay, like that could be the case, but luckily we're in a day and age now where a lot of these games can be downloaded from digital stores instead of us going to GameStop or Best Buy to pick up these games. And on top of that, there usually are updates for these games sometimes. So if there's a glitch or a huge problem in a certain game, then, developers can actually go and patch that, just like how on an app or on a mobile game or whatever. Like, yeah, it can happen, but luckily this isn't like 2003 where, where we don't have even Wi-Fi access on our consoles. That's not the case. These consoles are smart. These developers are smart. If there's going to be an issue, they're definitely probably going to patch the issue if it's a really big one that's plaguing a lot of people across the board. So that really pretty much covers up every single point that they hit up in this article. But there's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons. I would say I agree with about half of what this article was saying. I think for the other half, it's just kind of like whatever. It's just kind of things that I would also add in a video to kind of make it longer. But I think in this case, I think the 4K at 120Hz is a really good idea, as well as the game library that you're going to have. I mean, as of this point, it's not going to be that big of a difference, but later down the line, and probably in another year or so, that's where we're going to start seeing some really big games and also some huge improvements for the whole entire game library that are only going to be specifically for the PS5 or Xbox Series S. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.